Did you know that there was a time when bathhouses were prohibited? Well, specifically, gay bathhouses were the target of elites and authorities for allegedly bringing nothing but bad things. But of course, these judgments are one-sided, and at most, these bathhouses did nothing but give an escape and a place of relaxation to those who were seeking it after a long day's work. Despite all of these, a lot of bathhouses were closed, and ultimately, the stigma against establishments stuck throughout history. Today, we will go back to the beginning and discover the truth behind the steamy stories from these bathhouses that are worth being told. The beginning of bathhouses. Although largely associated with gay culture, bathhouses have long been a part of everyday life for the general populace. Ancient Greek and Roman communities frequently had communal bathhouses with stylish architecture and fairly complex heating systems. Even in those days, homosexual men made use of bathhouses as gathering places to secretly date other gay men away from the prying eyes of judgmental people and maybe talk about the gladiator they fancy and saw at the afternoon chariot racing. Over time, bathhouses would spring up all over Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, with establishments beginning to appear in England and the United States by the end of the 19th century. These facilities allowed the public to wash, socialize, and relax in general before they had to wait a few hundred years to benefit from home plumbing. Naturally, gay men kept discovering new applications for these places, which inevitably resulted in aggressive door-knocking from local legislators looking into claims of deviant behavior or illegal work. The Golden Era of Gay Bathhouses. Bathhouses saw a golden age following the entrance of the 1970s mentality that is very much inclined toward pleasure and engaging with the same gender. Of course, this is also one of the eras where there is more acceptance of homosexuality. When Priscilla hit theaters, it was similar to how straight people in the 1990s first secretly entered gay clubs to watch a drag show because the tubs suddenly became popular. At the same time, the average person wanted to experience these symbols of the decade's sexual revolution. The Ritz, Terrence McNally's bizarre comedy, and other plays have scenes set in blatantly gay bathhouses. Some celebrities even began their careers in show business there as entertainment, although the humidity often caused stage makeup to run like a water feature. Even though almost everyone had access to their own facilities at this point, the bathhouse's function as a gay social hub persisted. But we all know that it's more than that, and sometimes things get a little physical in these bathhouses. In Australia, gay-specific saunas or saunas began to emerge in the 1960s, allowing queer and closed-minded men to explore their sexuality at a time when even consensual relationships between two men or two women were prohibited. Even after homosexuality was made legal, ending a night of dancing with a relaxing trip to the spa was the ideal way to unwind. The stigma. Despite all of these, bathhouses were targeted because of the stigma that slowly crept in. Soon after, these establishments were threatened to be shut down in different parts of the world for allegedly being one of the reasons for the spread of sexually transmissible diseases. For instance, in a desperate attempt to curb transmission, San Francisco effectively shut down gay bathhouses in 1984, assuming that these venues created what is now referred to as super-spreader events. Despite changes in the global understanding of the disease and scientific advances in medication, these cultural centers remained effectively banned for over 36 years. These closures illustrate a fear-based reaction that resulted from limited knowledge of HIV. With PrEP and a better understanding of the mechanics of transmission, society may now take proactive actions to halt the virus's spread. This increased understanding of how the virus is transmitted, aided by targeted activism and community engagement, finally allowed bathhouses to reopen in 2020 when Supervisor Raphael Mandelman submitted a measure to repeal the ban, which the city's Board of Supervisors eventually passed. But wait, there's more. While San Francisco was able to understand that bathhouses are not the sole reason why there is an increase in cases, other parts of the world are having a hard time coming around when it comes to this idea. In 1492, the leading criminal court in Florence, Italy, issued a warning to local bathhouses to keep out suspect boys as part of a crackdown on the vice of sodomy. It was difficult for males during the period to find places where they could meet with one another comfortably, which is perhaps how they discovered that bathhouses were the ideal setting. After all, people were already in various degrees of undress. Unfortunately, they weren't fooled for long. Florence officials were eager to crack down on any kind of intimate relationship between men, and as a result, 44 men were sentenced for homosexual conduct in the city during the next 2 years. It's a great story that delves into the history of the gay bathhouses and saunas queer people know and love today, especially after their existence has been constantly endangered by police raids and bigoted lawmakers throughout the years. As a result, these bathhouses have a rich, intriguing, and occasionally painful history dating back centuries. The silver lining. The outbreak of AIDS in the 1980s devastated both the gay male population and the bathhouse culture. In America, certain government officials utilized public health decrees to shut down businesses or closely scrutinize their operations in order to avert a projected epidemic. With bathhouses practically at the epicenter of gay sexuality, several fledgling HIV/AIDS organizations partnered with sauna operators to provide education and awareness campaigns on safe practices and sexual health. These and other community campaigns help to instill HIV awareness in homosexual culture, allowing gay men to continue sexual exploration during a terrifyingly unknown time. Today, many saunas choose to follow numerous health criteria aimed at safeguarding their patrons' safety and well-being, such as ACON's Playzone Code of Practice. Such laws require establishments to meet cleanliness and safety standards, to treat consumers with dignity, and to make information about safe engagement between men and women, prevention of transmissible diseases, and education widely available. Staff must also understand the fundamentals of health and be ready to answer questions or direct customers to pertinent resources. Furthermore, ACON's Sexpert program comprises volunteers that visit saunas like Sydney City Steam to answer any questions or concerns consumers may have, allowing sexual health awareness and education to be offered at a community level, contributing to the goal of eradicating the transmissible disease. At the same time, while bathhouses have existed for centuries, they only became established as LGBT institutions in the last century. Early American bathhouses evolved from traditional Turkish and Russian baths in the 1920s and 1930s, which provided communal hot tubs and showers to all men. Gay bathhouses, on the other hand, distinguished themselves from these venues by allowing intercourse among members and providing food, entertainment, and private rooms. Despite the fact that most countries criminalized relationships between males, these early bathhouses catered to a mixed male clientele, providing a location for social networking as well as anonymous interactions. Bathhouses also provided guests with private chambers with locking doors, which distinguished these establishments from clubs. The first comparable American gay bathhouses to what we see today opened in the 1950s and 1960s, catering solely to the social and sensual requirements of gay men. Some had entire restaurants and nightclubs, as well as fitness equipment and saunas. It was not uncommon for bathhouses to host theme evenings or book vocalists such as Bette Midler, who rose to prominence in these venues. At most, the baths offered a haven from the outer world, as well as an alternative to pricey hotel rooms and public cruising, which, while enjoyable, carries a high danger of violence, blackmail, and police involvement. Bathhouses, according to Berube, predated the gay rights movement by providing men with a social environment to gather that included established health and safety policies, what some now would call a safe space to be gay. After the consenting adult sex bill decriminalized sodomy in California in 1976, the baths became cultural centers that could both shape and respond to the rapid social, sexual, and political changes that were taking place by allowing gay men to interact with other gay men. Although males could no longer be punished, they were nonetheless subjected to police harassment because the privacy guaranteed by the baths was contested. In reaction to a raid at the Liberty Baths that resulted in 3 arrests, the San Francisco District Attorney ultimately stated in 1978, "There's no question this bathhouse was a private place," which means customers and their privacy is protected to some extent. This was only the first of the many battles members of the community had to win to fight for their rights and place in a bathhouse, and while the road was bumpy, it was surely a fight worth fighting for. How about you? Do you think bathhouses should be prohibited? Let us know in the comments below and give this a like and subscribe for more stories from history.